driver's license yesterday. And don't worry, you got also the #1 tour guide in the island because our best tour guide is absent today. That's why I'm very lucky. Okay. Or maybe someday if you plan again to go back here, stay overnight. You're gonna stay at the grandest hotel in the island, the #1 hotel in the island, and the only hotel in the island. In your places, if you have 5-star hotels, in Corregidor, we have 31 star. We have 31 rooms, 1 star for every room. We have also a big swimming pool. It can occupy about 200 standing ovation. And of course, we have the swimming beach. Ayan. Down to your left side, that's the only swimming beach in the island. We call that the South Beach or the Black Beach. Don't worry the sharks in Corregidor. They're all vegetarians here. And the liberation forces, when they attacked Corregidor, when they landed at the Black Sea or the South Beach. Now here in front, as you can see, this is the map of the island. It is shaped like a tadpole. No other shape. Is there another shape? Don't mention it. Okay. It is shaped like a tadpole. Baby frog. It has a tail in a head. We arrive at the next section of the island at the north side of the island. North side facing Bataan Peninsula. That's the mainland of Bataan where we came from. So overlooking view the north side of the island. Divided into 3 elevation into 5 barrios. And the whole next section of the island considered also as the famous barrio before, Barrio San Jose. That's where the Filipinos and their families were allowed to stay. The Americans and their families at that time stay at the middle and top side area, the highest point. The Filipinos at the lowest part. And to your left side, another barrio before, Barrio Concepcion. That's where the prison cell or stockade area. During the Spanish time, the long-time Filipino prisoners, not prisoners of war, those are from Bilibid in Manila. The criminals, the convicts, life sentences brought in this island stay at the prison cell. But during the American time, the Americans utilize those prisoners as their workers before. So they're the ones who built the railroads because their means of transportation at the time, they have 9 electric trolley cars that goes around the island from tail to head. It took them 1 hour travel time, replica now of this tranvia bus we're riding. And they're the ones who built the roads, the barracks or the houses by the soldiers, big gun batteries, big cannons by the Americans, most especially the Malinta Tunnel for 10 long years. When the Japanese defeated also the Americans and occupied this island, they utilized also American prisoners as their workers before. There were about 300 American prisoners left behind in this island, all technical experts. They're the ones who built the houses of the Japanese, restored the electricity, the pumping stations. They're the ones who dug those Japanese tunnels, and they're the ones who gathered those scrap metals and shipped to Japan. Also, when the Americans occupied this island, they divided the island into 4 parts. They have the tail side, bottom side, middle side, and top side. When the Japanese defeated the Americans and occupied this island for 3 years, from 1942 to 1945, the Japanese divided also the island into 5 parts. They have the tail side, bottom side, middle side, top side, and suicide. This is where the Japanese commit suicide, and one of the suicide cliff to your left side. That's about 200 feet above the waves. That's where some of the Japanese commit suicide. Because the Japanese at the time don't want to surrender to the Americans because surrendering for them is a disgrace to their emperor. They prefer to die than to surrender captured alive. 20 surrendered 10 months after the war and 22 captured wounded. Most of them died inside the Malinta Tunnel. Last part of your tour, we're gonna go inside the Malinta Tunnel. I'm gonna show you where those 2,000 Japanese blew themselves up, commit suicide. If you only stay overnight in the island, we have another tour in the afternoon and in the evening. We call that the ghost hunting tour in the island. Almost an hour staying overnight. Okay? Now, we're now here the middle side part of the island. 300 feet above the waves. Can you see part of the concrete inside the jungle? Far left, overgrown by the trees. That's the recreational passing ground by the Americans. Of course, the champion in baseball were the Americans, but the champion in boxing in other types of sports were the Filipinos. In front, you will see a nice house that was rented by one of the son of the last sergeant who fired one of the guns in Corregidor before they surrendered to the Japanese. His name is Steve Kwiecinski. He stayed in that house for almost 8 years. He wrote a book about his father. He do guiding also in the island. The father, Sergeant Walter Kwiecinski. So down to your right side, you will see a destroyed spring water. So the source of water in the island before, during, after, and until today, the spring water. And on top of the water reservoir, a camouflage tennis court to hide the water reservoir underneath. Okay, signboard, front left, Enlisted Men Service Club and YMCA. Front right, you're gonna see now the houses of the soldiers before. They call this the middle side barracks. They named this building middle side because it was built at the middle side part of the island. Barrack, no relation to the former US President Barack. Okay. Down to your left side, down to the right side inside the jungle, that's where the 9 electric trolley cars will pass through in front of the middle side barracks. A 3-story building, hurricane proof. Why? Because the cement built in here came from Japan, Asano Cemento. But the steel bars, Bethlehem Steel from Pennsylvania. Japanese Cemento, American Steel Bar. At the ground floor, that's where the kitchen, mess hall, barber shops, recreational facilities. Second and third level, that's where the dormitory. The windows of this barrack, sliding windows made of kapis, the shell. This barrack was completed 1915. It can house 1 regiment, 2,500 soldiers. But not the whole 2,500 or 1 regiment stayed in this barrack. It can accommodate or it can house only. The soldiers, total soldiers, almost about 200 soldiers stayed in this island and these barracks exclusively for the Americans. 60th Coast Artillery Anti-Aircraft Enlisted Men. Imagine, 100 plus years already still standing. That's the original destruction. No more renovation, no more repainting. Before, there were many trees that grows inside the building, almost eaten or covered the whole barracks or building. Can you see the tree on top? Those are a fig tree or a banyan tree. Those kind of tree that grows inside. Most of trees grows inside the building. So they decided what to preserve. Is it the ruins or is it the trees? So they cut all the trees. So the ruins are very important to us because a country without ruins is a country without history. A country without history is a country without memories. So the ruins are the memories of our history. Okay, I know you want to go down and take pictures. Every time I do my tour, I don't want my guests just sit down, listen to me. You see, pipe directly connected to the water reservoir. So we're now at the back view of the barracks. The front view is on the other side. Front right, down to your front right, there's a bridge, one of the bridge that connects inside the building. Signboard, front right, middle side barracks, 91st CA Coast Artillery PS Philippine Scout EM Enlisted Men. You wonder why the cement built in here came from Japan. Japan is nearer to the Philippines. And the cement from Japan is much cheaper compared to the other cement factory at that time. And those barracks or buildings were almost completed before World War I broke out, because World War I was fought 1914 to 1918. World War II was fought 1941 to 1945. That's why the Americans bought the cement from Japan. And the Japanese came how to have a nice tour in this gun battery. Okay, so after the Battle of Manila Bay, May 1st of 1898, 1902, Corregidor was already an American military reservation. 1908, group of American engineers. We're now entering the rear back view of the hospital. Remember this part of the hospital because I'm gonna show you this part inside the museum later on. So this is the front view of the hospital. You can see it on top on the arc 1912-1912. Anybody who wants to go down and explore the hospital, we can go up. I can show you inside. Anybody who wants to go?
Yeah.
Because the nurses and doctors are waiting inside to have your blood pressure and sugar check up. Hospital. I gathered already sons, daughters, granddaughters, grandchildren of those veterans, of those soldiers who is stationed in this island. If you don't mind, I'm also a veteran, fighting with my wife. I was trained to obey orders. I'm just kidding. Okay. I gathered one time, one son. When he was a kid, sitting on the steps in front of their house at that time. When he came back, 60 years old, he wants to see the house where they stayed of his parents. So I brought him in that house where they named this barrack Mailong because of his extraordinary length, one single building. But the total length is not 1 mile, only a third of a mile, 1,528 feet. This barrack was completed 1914. It can house 8,000 soldiers with complete facilities. It has an indoor swimming pool at the center of the building, post exchange, mess hall, kitchen, barber shops, recreational facilities like 2-lane bowling alleys, billiard halls, dancing halls, open court basketball, and a library. And once also this barrack used by General MacArthur as his headquarters. Again, all cement built in here came from Japan. Asano Cemento. Okay, to your right side, one also of the baseball playing ground by the Americans. Americans came back also, the Japanese concentrated their defense at the tail of the island. They thought that the Americans will attack also at the tail of the island, but they do it the other way around. They attack at the head, at the highest point of the island. So the Japanese already the tail, the Americans already the highest point. Military tactical attack. At the end, steel bar structure, eternal flame, flame of freedom, sculptured by American Greek Aristides Demetrius. He spent $85,000 to complete that eternal flame or the flame of freedom. To the right side, it's like a helmet or a parachute, or it's like a big orange squeezer, or it's like a flying saucer. They call that the dome. At the center of the dome, there's a circular altar. That's the wreath of victory. Have you seen the two soldiers at the middle? One American and one Filipino. That represents brothers in arms, a true friendship of two nations searching and fighting for their independence. How can you distinguish the American and the Filipino? Of course, the height. The American is taller. What else? The American has complete uniform. The American helping the, is it a wounded? It was erected May 1st of 1898. First American flag flown here, December of 1898. 45 stars. So these are the senior officers' houses at the time. Two families in one building. The higher rank officer occupied the second part of the tour. Other ruins and unexplored tunnels. There are many tunnels in this island, built by the Americans, the Japanese, and the Filipinos. And front, there's another gun battery, Battery Giri, same as Battery WWII. The only difference, Battery WWII has 4 guns, Battery Giri has 8 guns. 4 on that side, 4 on this side. At the center where the bomb crater now. On May 2nd, after firing, it goes down. It's like hiding or disappearing behind a wall. That's why they named this gun battery disappearing gun. Because of the counterweight. There's a counterweight attached to the barrel. When the counterweight goes down, the barrel goes up, then fire. Imagine 50 tons of gunpowder that pull the barrel up. Anybody wants to go down? I show you around. Or nobody? You're tired already? You're hungry? When they gathered so many human bones, believed to be those Japanese soldiers who fought, defended, and died in Corregidor. How would they know that those are Japanese human bones? For 10 long years, from 1922 completed 1932 by long-time Filipino prisoners. They're the ones who dug the tunnel under an American engineers. The main tunnel is about 836 feet long, 24 feet. The U.S. President Frederick Quezon quickly to medication in the U.S. Unfortunately, he died August 1st, 1944 in Saranac because of his sickness. So this was the lateral occupied. And next lateral. You notice there are relays, the 9 electric trolley cars inside to the nation that my troops and I have accomplished all that is humanly possible and that we upheld the best tradition of the United States and its Army. May God bless, protect you, and guide you in the effort to ultimate victory. With profound regret and continued pride with my gallant troops, I will go to meet the Japanese. Goodbye, Mr. President. Goodbye. Signed, Lieutenant General Jonathan Mehe Wainwright, May 6, 1942, Corregidor Island, Philippines. End of the message. It took me 5 months to memorize that one.